The rain fell in relentless sheets, hammering the Paris streets as a flickering street lamp cast jagged shadows across the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. Inside a sleek black Mercedes-Benz S280, the air was heavy with urgency. Diana's fingers clutched the leather seat, her breath uneven. Beside her, Dodi Al-Fayed's eyes darted to the rear window, where the flash of cameras pierced the night. Their driver, Henri Paul, gripped the wheel, his jaw tight as he accelerated through the tunnel's curve. Behind them, the roar of paparazzi motorcycles grew louder, relentless, predatory. The car swerved, tires screeching against wet asphalt. A sudden glint, a blinding flash, exploded in the tunnel. Henry's hands jerked, and the Mercedes slammed into the 13th concrete pillar with a deafening crunch. Metal twisted, glass shattered, and silence swallowed the chaos. In the wreckage, Diana's voice, faint and trembling, whispered, "My God, what's happened?" Hours earlier, the Ritz Hotel buzzed with opulence. Crystal chandeliers glittered above the Imperial Suite, where Diana and Dodi dined in private. Mushrooms and asparagus sat untouched on her plate as she glanced at the window, sensing eyes beyond the heavy curtains. "They're always there," she murmured, her voice tinged with exhaustion. Dodi reached for her hand, his smile reassuring yet strained. "We'll outsmart them tonight," he promised. Their plan was simple. Slip out the back entrance on Rue Cambon, using a decoy car to distract the swarm of photographers at the front. Henri Paul, the Ritz's head of security, would drive them to Dodi's apartment on Rue Arsène Houssaye. But as they descended the service elevator, Diana's unease deepened. She hadn't worn her seatbelt, a habit she usually followed religiously. Something felt off, like a shadow moving just out of sight. Outside, the night was alive with chaos. Paparazzi, tipped off by an unseen source, already crowded the rear exit. As Diana and Dodi ducked into Mercedes, cameras flashed like gunfire. Henri floored the accelerator, weaving through Paris's narrow streets. The paparazzi pursued, their motorcycles weaving dangerously close. Diana's heart raced. She felt hunted before, but tonight the air crackled with something darker. Days before, in a quiet meeting at Kensington Palace, Diana had confided in her lawyer, Victor Mishkin. Her voice was steady but laced with fear. "I've heard things," she said, her eyes searching his. "Reliable sources, they say I'm a problem, that I'll be dealt with." Mishkin's pen froze over his notepad. "Dealt with?" he asked. Diana nodded. "An accident. A car crash, maybe, to clear the path." She didn't name names, but her implication hung heavy. The royal establishment, those who saw her as a threat to the monarchy's pristine image. Mishkin scribbled a note, later locked in a safe. October 30th, 1995. Princess Fear's orchestrated accident. He dismissed it as paranoia, but couldn't shake her words. Diana's life had been a tightrope since her divorce from Charles. Her public revelations, affairs, betrayal, her raw humanity, had humiliated the royal family. Now, her romance with Dodi, an Egyptian Muslim, stirred whispers of scandal. Some claimed she was pregnant. Others that an engagement loomed. To certain powerful circles, she was no longer just a nuisance. She was a liability. Back in the tunnel, the wreckage steamed in the rain. A French doctor, Frederick Maylis, driving home from a party, stopped at the scene. He rushed to the crumpled Mercedes, finding Diana slumped, blood trickling from her mouth. She was conscious, barely, her eyes fluttering. "She's alive," he shouted. Calling emergency services at 12:26 a.m., firefighters arrived, their tools grinding as they cut through twisted metal. The SAMU ambulance, adhering to France's stay-and-play protocol, stabilized Diana on site. Her heart stopped as they extracted her, but CPR revived her pulse. The ambulance crawled through Paris, stopping repeatedly to manage her fading vitals. At 2:06 a.m., it reached Piti-Salpêtrière Hospital, 3.5 miles away. Surgeons fought for 2 hours, stitching a torn heart vein, massaging her chest. But at 4 a.m., they stepped back. Diana was gone. Dodi and Henri were already dead at the scene. Trevor Rees-Jones, Dodi's bodyguard, survived, his face shattered but his seatbelt intact. The world woke to tragedy. Newsrooms erupted and grief swept the globe. Flowers piled outside Buckingham Palace, a sea of white and red. But beneath the mourning, questions festered. Why was Henri Paul, with alcohol in his blood, allowed to drive? Why no seatbelts? Why the delay to the hospital? And what was that flash in the tunnel? Mohammed Al-Fayed, Dodi's father, stood in his Harrods office, staring at a photo of his son and Diana. His voice trembled with rage. This was no accident, he told reporters. They were murdered. He pointed fingers at the royal family, at MI6, at Prince Philip himself. They couldn't accept my son, a Muslim, as stepfather to the future king. He claimed Diana was pregnant, that the couple planned to announce their engagement on September 1st. The media seized his words, fueling a storm of speculation. Conspiracy theories multiplied. A white Fiat Uno, seen in the tunnel, had grazed a Mercedes, leaving paint traces. Its driver, possibly photographer James Ananson or ex-security guard Lou Van Ton, vanished from scrutiny, and Danson's later death in a car fire with a hole in his skull only deepened the mystery. Former MI6 agent Richard Tomlinson alleged a plot, citing a plan to disorient a Serbian leader with a strobe light in a tunnel, a chilling parallel. A French eyewitness, Francois Levister, claimed he saw a bright flash before the crash, though his wife contradicted him. Diana's own words haunted the narrative. A note, written in 1995 and later revealed by her butler Paul Burrell, read, "This phase of my life is the most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car to make the path clear for him to marry." She named Tiggy Leg Burke, not Camilla, as Charles's goal, but the note's eerie foresight stoked suspicions. Had she known too much? Operation Paget, launched in 2004 by the Metropolitan Police, sifted through 175 theories. Detectives interviewed 300 witnesses, from royals to paparazzi. They traced Henri Paul's movements, finding he drunk heavily at the Ritz. His bank account, flush with $250,000 despite a modest salary, sparked rumors of MI6 payments, but no proof emerged. Blood tests confirmed Diana wasn't pregnant. Her autopsy showed no signs. The engagement ring Dodi bought was unconfirmed as hers. The Fiat Uno remained elusive, its role inconclusive. The inquest, concluded in 2008, ruled unlawful killing by Henry's gross negligence and the paparazzi's reckless pursuit. No evidence supported a royal conspiracy. Lord Justice Baker told the jury, not a shred of evidence linked Prince Philip or MI6 to murder. Yet doubts lingered. Why was Diana's body embalmed so quickly, clouding pregnancy tests? Why did Scotland Yard sit on Mishkin's note for years? And why did 38% of Britons, per a 2013 YouGov poll, believe it wasn't an accident? In a quiet London flat, Simone Simmons, Diana's friend, sipped tea, her eyes distant. She knew she was a target, she told a documentary crew. She told me about the bugs in her phones, the shadows following her. Diana had hired security expert Graham Harding to sweep Kensington Palace for surveillance devices. He found none but supplied her secret mobiles to evade taps. Her fears weren't baseless. Her Panorama interview, exposing royal betrayals, had been secured through forged documents by Martin Bashir. Trust was a luxury she couldn't afford. Theories swirled beyond the royal family. Some pointed to the CIA, alleging 1,054 pages of files on Diana, though none tied to crash. Others claimed Henri Paul met French intelligence that night, but evidence was thin. The paparazzi, fined a symbolic euro for privacy invasion, remained scapegoats. Prince Harry, in his memoir Spare, drove through the tunnel himself, concluding it was unremarkable. Yet he still blamed the photographers. 20 years later, the Pont de El Alma tunnel is quiet, its pillar unmarked. Tourists pass, unaware of the tragedy. Diana's legacy endures, her charity, her defiance, her humanity. But the questions persist, woven into her myth. Was it a drunk driver, a reckless chase, a tragic fluke? Or did unseen hands orchestrate her end? The truth, like the Fiat Uno, slips through history's grasp. In a darkened room, a man lights a match, illuminating a Polaroid of Diana, radiant and alive. He watches it curl in flames. A whisper escapes him, They'll never know. The screen fades to black, text flickering. Who really killed the people's princess?